Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up on Our News, a weekend edition. Construction to begin on Grand Bahama's premier hospital this year. The leader of the opposition says the marital rape bill should be top priority. Former health minister sides with a PAHO official that healthcare workers are uninformed. And the Interdevelopment Bank signs off on a $500,000 grant to BTVI. Welcome to Our News, the weekend edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Shepherd. Topping news tonight, the nation's leader, Prime Minister Philip Davis, on Grand Bahama last evening for a ring presentation ceremony at a local high school. While there, the Prime Minister reiterated his love for and commitment to the island. He says that his government has pledged to rescue the economically challenged island, and now is the time for Grand Bahama to live up to its full potential.
A new hospital is on the way, with construction to begin this year. And we know economic growth on the island can only happen with a fully functioning airport. And so we are working to have short-term repairs at the existing site as we weigh the cost of refurbishing and rebuilding that airport, and determining whether or not it should be moved from that basin to a more elevated position. And so we are working for Grand Bahama.
He added that despite any noise in the market, he is working to promote the nation's second city.
And it pains me at times to see that we have not, in Grand Bahama, achieved its full potential. And we understand what is happening. When the minister and I were in Abu Dhabi the other day, we were searching, finding investors for the whole of the Bahamas. And at not one meeting we had, Grand Bahama was not mentioned. But it always seemed that we need to do more to get them here. And we will get Grand Bahama back.
F&M leader Michael Pintard says legislation to address marital rape should be a priority, not just an item on the government's agenda. On Thursday, State Minister for Social Services Lisa Raming said a proposed gender-based violence bill will likely address marital rape, but she could not give a timeline on the completion of the bill.
The F&M has been working diligently, even with the faith-based organizations, on making sure that legislation is developed around this issue. And I'm on record as saying that we are in support of criminalizing marital rape, but we need to see the legislation to understand the full details of it.
During a press briefing at the office of the Prime Minister, Raming could not say what kind of penalties will be associated with a related complaint. In 2018, while at the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, Switzerland, then Attorney Karl Bethel said the government intended to criminalize marital rape. A bill was drafted and circulated among community stakeholders, but the Minister administration made no movement on it before leaving office.
No man reserves the right, despite being married to a woman, that if she believes he is putting her at risk, her health, by virtue of his behavior, she reserves the right to say no to him in terms of providing intimacy. They may be married, and he is not in the home. He does not reserve the right to return at any point he desires and to have relations with her. And we must balance what we do in terms of sending that message to the community, to men, by also making sure that there are provisions in there to ensure that no female maliciously makes an accusation that is without basis and without being punished.
Former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands says it appears healthcare workers aren't as educated on the COVID-19 vaccine as many expect. He asserted there has been a lot of misinformation surrounding the topic of vaccines. Berthany McDermott reports.
Former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands is siding with the Pan American Health Organization official who revealed health professionals in the Bahamas weren't very informed about the vaccine. This despite being the most trusted source of information for families and communities. Sands said, "We are challenged on multiple fronts."
What is very clear is that the narrative on vaccines and vaccination has evolved. But the response by the public has not necessarily evolved.
Sands' comments come amid slower vaccination rates despite continued daily infections. More than 159,000 people have been fully vaccinated in the Bahamas. While the Bahamas saw a decrease in new infections and hospital admissions for COVID-19, hospitalizations and admissions to intensive care units in the region continue to increase.
What vaccination does is basically stop you from being hospitalized by 90% or so and protect you from dying by a similar level. That narrative seems to have been well hidden. And what is true before and what is true now is that vaccination against COVID-19 is life-saving and ought to be an integral part of the way forward, even as we seem to be hoping that the end is near.
More than 90 countries in the region have a vaccination rate below 40%. The former Elizabeth Member of Parliament also spoke to the false news that the Omicron variant is milder than previous COVID-19 strains.
And there has been some unfortunate rhetoric where we have labeled Omicron as a milder disease, despite the fact that in a number of places, the United States in particular, and other countries, the devastation in terms of serious illness, hospitalizations, and deaths has been as bad or worse than Delta. And certainly in the Bahamas, we have seen many, many cases, thousands of cases. We have also seen significant hospitalizations and deaths.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
And still to come on Our News, taxi drivers on Grand Bahama say the reconstruction of the international airport is long overdue. And a 29-year-old is looking to promote financial education to the next generation. And BTVI gets a much-needed IDB grant. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
You're watching Our News, the weekend edition. Welcome back. The University of the Bahamas has signed a technical cooperation agreement that provides for a $500,000 grant from the Inter-American Development Bank. Chair of the UB Board of Trustees, Allison Maynard Gibson, explained the significance of the new partnership.
The partnership that we celebrate today, created by a $500,000 grant from the IDB, and a matching commitment from UB, will transform UB North, Grand Bahama, and the Bahamas. The Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at UB North will stimulate micro, small, and medium-sized business ownership and increase the capacity of Bahavians to soar in the digital realm, ensuring our competitiveness nationally and internationally. These successes will fuel our economic future.
The ceremony was held at the Grand Lucine Convention Center in Grand Bahama. UB President Dr. Rodney Smith called it a momentous occasion.
And the University of the Bahamas' mission is to advance and expand access to higher education, promote academic freedom, drive national development, and build character through teaching, learning, research, scholarship, and service. We view partnerships with national and international agencies, as demonstrated here today, as an essential part of carrying out this very mission.
Government's plan to rebuild Grand Bahama International Airport getting the thumbs up from some taxi drivers on the island who say the current facilities are not good enough. From the outdoor toilets to the uncovered waiting area for taxis, Sydney McIntosh and Duke Roll say a new airport is long overdue.
Main terminal has went down. The government and allowed the Hutchinson to build this little trailer terminal. When it rains, everybody get wet. You guys stay in your car. You can't even get a cup of coffee on this airport. I ain't talking about water or soda. It's been bad.
Yeah, we have a lot of issues, like they bring this outside toilet here and you have nothing for the taxi drivers, just stay in. So with rain, we have to run in our car. When the tourists come out through the front of the building, they have to stay in there until the rain is over, unless they all get wet up.
The airport suffered extensive damage during the passage of Hurricane Dorian and was subsequently purchased by the Minutes administration. In the House of Assembly on Wednesday, Tourism and Aviation Minister Chester Cooper said Grand Bahama International Airport is operating at a loss of $3.6 million a year. He added that the reconstruction of the facility is a priority of the government and a key component to getting that island's economy back on track, along with the sale and reopening of the Grand Lucane Resort. Taxi drivers agree, adding that business is slower than ever.
It's been rough because the only kind of movement we usually have is from the shipyard. And that's been, well, ship is there, but they're not letting no one come off. It's like everybody stay on the ship. And then you have the ship that come in every day or every different day, but then you have the bus moving those set of people. So for the taxi driver, it's been hard.
The Financial Academy was established to provide practical ways in which young people can create a secure financial future. Tonight, we feature a 29-year-old who left a job last year during the pandemic to pursue her passion.
I found myself talking to a lot of young people, giving them advice about how to manage their money. And even though I'm a young person myself, sometimes you feel as if you can't really give much because you're so young, but it was so helpful to them. And by expanding that and going into the schools, churches, youth groups, young adult organizations, this was the way for me to make an impact. And so this is what caused me to start the Financial Academy, and I'm so happy that I did.
Lakeisha Roll says that helping other young people make smart financial decisions is her passion. She volunteers her services at both children's homes on the island and even plans to host a webinar for the children of the Grand Bahama Children's Home. Roll says she believes that as soon as children first begin to interact with money, parents should begin to teach financial lessons.
We also look at the difference between your needs and your wants, because children think everything is important. And so we definitely go through that, outline what is important, what can wait. And these are things that I instill in them at an early age, because as they grow, they're going to understand, hey, I remember Ms. Roll spoke to me about this. This is not a need, this is a want. I don't have to spend my money on this right now. So definitely at an early age, targeting those children as once they start interacting with money, as young as age 6, I would say. We know students take the bus to school, they interact with money, they go to school, they buy lunch, they go to the food store, they pick up groceries for you. So definitely at that age.
Roll, who has a Master's of Science in Business Management, says her vision is to be the leading financial provider for the youth in the country. She says over the years, she has come to learn that the biggest money mistake young people make is getting into debt.
So debt management, budgeting, saving. Persons are taught to save for planned expenses. We know vacation, you want to travel, birthday coming up, wedding, anniversaries, these types of things. But what about those unplanned expenses? When financial emergencies arise, are you able to take care of yourself during that? And debt, they know that they can get the money from somewhere, but what happens after that? So you can't just continue to borrow, especially without the intention of repaying, because this is a poor money management choice.
Roll says she is thankful that she has been able to do what she loves with minimal challenges. And to other young people looking to make the leap of faith into entrepreneurship, she has this bit of advice.
I would definitely say pray. So that's the first thing that you have to do. You have to make sure that this is a step that you're supposed to take at this moment. We know if you're not aligned, then things are not going to work out. They're not going to go the way that you think. So prayer is definitely the first thing. The next thing, you have to be consistent. You have to stay motivated despite what challenges may arise, because remember, it's your business. It's purpose that's inside of you. So you have to really be serious about this business that you want to operate and just stay the course. So try to surround yourself with like-minded individuals who can help you, who can keep you accountable.
When our news comes back from the break, we'll tell you how the pandemic brought about a new popularity for national parks. And to learn to love your heart during the month of February. We have those details when our news returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is our news. Welcome back. The COVID-19 pandemic has sparked renewed interest in the country's national parks, according to Bahamas National Trust Executive Director Eric Carey, who says outdoor activities seem to be gaining popularity as people seek safer activities. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Bahamas National Trust Executive Director says the COVID-19 pandemic has created a pent-up demand for activities in outdoor spaces like national parks.
So much was delayed, cut short because of COVID. A lot of our activities couldn't happen. Kids couldn't get outside. Schools are clamoring now to get kids outside in National Park. Visitors are trying to get out into National Park.
Carey says he has already had discussions with officials in the Ministry of Tourism to see how they can tap into the environmental tourism market.
Talking about ways that we can use the environment and our national parks to enhance our tourism product. You all hear the cry, there isn't anything for tourism to do. That's not true. There's so much to do here on this island. Bonefish Pond, Primeval Forage, Clifton Heritage, the forts, the museums. There's a lot to do. And our family islands, I mean, we could go on and on and on, but we don't have time for that. But yes, there's a lot that's going to be happening.
Bahamas National Trust has a full agenda for 2022. Last April, the BNT launched its rebranding campaign. The rebranding came 1 year after the BNT celebrated its 60th anniversary, and officials said the initiative took 2 years to complete.
There's a big surprise, which you'll hear about soon, which is going to be huge. But generally, we're continuing our work. We changed our brand, but we're doing the same great work. We changed our brand because after 60 years, we wanted people to take a fresh look at us. We wanted something that appealed to a broader audience, including younger people. Our logo is themed as like the jewels. So our jewels, our national parks, they're the jewels. The flamingos, the conch, everything that are protected. That's protected in our national parks. They are the jewel, our treasures. So our logo, you know, our bubbles look like little jewels, and then it also looks somewhat like our national tourism emblem, where the islands are these bubbles that are drawn out. So we wanted to align with newness. We wanted to look fresh.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Though February is often considered the month of love, medical experts stress you should also show love to your heart. Worldwide, cardiovascular disease kills 17.9 million people a year. Former health minister and cardiovascular surgeon Dr. Dwayne Sands stressed the importance of taking preventative measures.
Heart disease kills men, women, and if nothing else, go get checked out. Make sure that you're not one of the unfortunate ones that succumbs to a preventable problem.
The World Health Organization reported in 2018 that deaths from heart disease in the Bahamas reached 301, or 13.74% of total deaths. The age-adjusted death rate is 70.87 per 100,000 of population, with the Bahamas ranking at number 150 in the world. Sands also sounded the alarm on the risk of heart disease in children.
Approximately 1% of children are born with congenital heart disease. That hasn't really changed. So we see it in neonates, we see it in premature infants, and we see it in children. So as much as it is important for children to interact with their pediatricians, understand that they too can get or be born with heart disease.
And when our news returns, our Marcellus Hall checks in with our Weekend Edition Sports.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. And here's our sports guy, Marcellus Hall, checking in with the Bahamas Grassroots Basketball League.
Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Sunday edition as we take you here to the Grassroots basketball program. They are underway for a couple of weeks now, and according to their organizer and founder, Danico Bowles, things are going extremely well.
Now into its fourth week of play, the IBA Bahamas Grassroots Youth Basketball League has been doing quite well, with age groups from 15 and under all the way up to the 18 and unders. It seems as if they're on the right track. Co-founder Danico Bowles says it really feels pretty good to see something going on.
Like I said, I'm very, very, very pleased. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time now, and with COVID, definitely allowed me to put some things in place. Like I said, this league is something that the kids really, really need. They've been sitting up long enough, and time for them to get back in action, shake up all those cobwebs, and that rust. But like I said, it's definitely been something that I think is beneficial for the kids. And like I said, the sky is going to be the limit for this league and for this program once things continue the way they are.
Bowles talking about how the entire idea for the league first came about.
Well, the whole thing is, like you say, just to get these kids developing early. That's why the name Grassroots came about. It's to pretty much get these kids, like I say, from an earlier age, earlier standpoint in terms of teaching them the game, teaching them the proper way. And so, like I say, once we continue to work with these kids, myself along with Coach Ricardo Pierre, I think the sky's going to be the limit for these kids, man. These kids just need to work. And even for the older ones, because, like I say, COVID has really put a damp on a lot of activities, So when Coach asks for film for these kids, that's 2 years gone, kids haven't been active for a long time, and so they want things more current, things more up to date, and so that's one of the reasons why too it was essential to start the league now, and like you say, no better time to do it than now.
And that is your Sunday sports check. For our news, I'm Marcellus Hall.
Thank you so much for joining us for our News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.